are an RTX capable laptop. This is the ASUS Tough Gaming FX505D. It comes in at around $1,000. And if we go ahead and open it up, okay, it comes in at around 5 pounds, and it has this aluminum finish on the top, which is military grade MIL STD 810G pass, which means it is resistant to hot and cold temperatures, shock and vibration, solar radiation, etc. And here we can see we have the power cable, and you can see 19.5 volts, 9.23 amps, which is about 180 watts. Here you have the warranty card, looks like the manual. Here we have 4 extra screws, which is for the extra hard drive that you can put in, the 2.5 inch, which we'll show later. So you can see the aluminum finish on top with the ASUS logo here. And we have these really nice looking sort of bevels in each corner. You can see the see-through with your power and your airplane mode and all your other indicators up on top. And if we go ahead and open it, here's this piece of foam they put on to protect it. We can see the anti-glare screen, and if we get up closer down here, we can see all the technology and the processor. Okay, right now we are going to open the bottom of the laptop and show you what's inside. Can you dig any deeper now? I gave you all I own, put you on this golden throne, but I'm a little stronger now. When we go ahead and take a look at the inside of the laptop, you can see our Ryzen 7 3750H with a base clock of 2.3 GHz and 4.0 GHz turbo. We can see our GeForce GTX 1660 Ti with 6 GB of GDDR6. We have 16 GB of DDR4 2666 MHz RAM. We have our 512 GB SSD NVMe drive. And on the bottom right, we also have a 500 GB added for our benchmarks and testing. Alright, if we go ahead and take a look at the side of the laptop, we can see our charger port for our 180 watt charger, which has a lasting of 48 watt hours. And if we look at our I/O ports, we have the gigabit Ethernet, the HDMI out, 1 USB Type A 2.0, 2 USB 3.1 Gen 1s, and a headphone microphone input. And now we're going to go ahead and go to our game benchmarks. Just to note, some of the game benchmarks are not accurate, such as in Tomb Raider, the minimum frame rate would drop to 0.1 FPS in between different scenes. Okay, we're going to start with GTA 5. We can see we have the average frame rate of 74.6 frames per second, a minimum of 44, and a maximum of around 120, with our 1% low at 53.4 and our 0.1% low at 42.1. And when we move over to Rise of the Tomb Raider, the only accurate measurements we have are average frame rate of around 62 and a maximum of around 103. Next, we have Metro 2033 with our average at around 75, our minimum at 28.5 and a maximum of 120, with a 1% low of 10.4 and a 0.1% low of 6.2 frames per second. And now we move on to Call of Duty Modern Warfare, which we tested RTX on and RTX off. And with RTX on, our average frame rate was around 58, with a minimum of 42 and a maximum of 83, with a 1% low of 42.4 and a 0.1% low of 38.6. And when we go ahead and turn RTX off, our average frame rate was around 95, with a minimum of 33 and a maximum of around 114, with a 1% low of 69.5 and a 0.1% low of 1.8. And once again, we can see that maybe MSI Afterburner didn't have the most accurate benchmark numbers. And now we're going to move on to the software benchmarks, where we can see that on Firestrike, we scored an 11,746, which is just above a regular gaming laptop, which is classified as an i7 6820HK with a 980. And we move on to TimeSpy, we scored nearly a 5100, which is just above the gaming laptop again. And when we go to our user benchmark, we can see that we're above average with the same specs, with the 51st percentile for the CPU and the 52nd percentile for the GPU. And when we move over to Cinebench R15, we can see that we scored a 669, which is just below a 4770K, which is good considering that when you look it up, they consider the 4770K to be about 17% faster than the 3750H.